Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of HMF Live. My name is Tanya, I'm the host of the show and also the founder of Hustle to Muscle Fitness. Thanks for being here and for watching, whether it's live or whether it's the recording after it's posted. So, do you know what your body type is? Do you know the best way to approach exercise and nutrition for your body? Are you having trouble losing weight or gaining weight and you feel like you've tried either, if you're trying to lose weight, you feel like you've tried every diet under the sun or every workout strategy out there and nothing seems to be working, or if you lose the weight, you end up gaining it back or you have this yo-yo cycle. So we're going to talk about, this is going to be a two-parter, so you'll have to tune in next week for the rest of it. But tonight we're going to talk about the basic body types that people fall into one of the following categories or even a combination of the categories. I'm going to describe those a little bit, and then next week's episode, in part 2, I will actually give you some tips both around your exercise and nutrition for each of those body types. So basically, when I'm talking about body types, you can kind of think of it about how your body responds to certain foods. You can hear my dogs clicking back there. You can think about it in terms of like your body being able to lose weight or having a hard time with that. So there are 3 basic body types, endomorphs, mesomorphs, and ectomorphs. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what those are here in a second. Most commonly, people are a combination of those. And it's very rare to find somebody who's like strictly that one type. Usually it's a combination. And I know when I was going through this information, which also let me give credit where credit's due, got a lot of this information from Burn the Fat, Feed the Muscle by Tom Venuto. So I'm going to give you kind of the highlights and the overview. If you want to learn more, I definitely recommend getting this book. I have not finished it yet. I'm just partway through it, but it's been very good so far. So thanks, honey.
You're welcome.
All right, so as I was saying, most people are usually a combination of stuff or of different body types. And like I said, when I was reading this book, I started immediately like kind of self-assessing and then even going, oh, Gary's this type. And oh, that explains this person. And you'll probably do the same if you decide to read that book. So for example, somebody who's a combination of types, someone who easily can gain muscle, but then also gains fat with that muscle, that's going to be an endomorph mesomorph, or an endomeso. So think of like your football linebackers, your wrestlers, like the really big dudes who are really strong, but they also look like they're kind of fat. But yeah, so that's that type. Then there's a lot of other combinations between the 3 as well. So first of all, let's talk about endomorphs. So endomorphs, and let me just preface this by saying that first of all, I did not necessarily label or describe these. I'm just taking some of this from the book directly. And it's not meant to like label or body shame or fat shame or skinny shame anybody. So just want to put that out there. This is just purely factual information. So the endomorphs are the large fatty body types, or the fatter body types. A lot of times they're the ones that have like maybe the soft or the round midsection, soft bodies. Don't necessarily see a lot of muscle definition. They kind of look like, they might be strong, but they kind of look like there is, their arms are sort of just no shape really. And they have a hard time losing body fat. So that's an endomorph in general, which I fall into some of those categories, I'll be honest. I know I don't look like it now, but when I was on my fitness, my weight loss journey, I shouldn't say when I was on my weight loss journey, now I'm just on my healthy journey, but I definitely fell into some of those descriptors. Okay, the second type, mesomorph. So mesomorph is mostly your muscular types. They are also kind of your genetic freaks, really, because they are lean. Their hard bodies, naturally athletic, they gain muscle with ease, and I'll talk more in part 2 about them really kind of being genetic freaks, but yeah, they're the ones that we kind of love to hate because it just all happens naturally or so easily for them. And then finally, there are the ectomorphs. They are the lean, skinny types, the people that are really thin, bony, have a super fast metabolism and a very low body fat. So a lot of times when you hear people talk about the skinny fat, a lot of times that's those folks, because they might be thin, but there's not really a lot of muscle to them, and not necessarily that they look soft and round like the endos, but they have a hard time putting on weight. They have a hard time keeping and gaining and keeping weight, maintaining weight. So endomorphs, mesomorphs, and ectomorphs. Those are your 3 types. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about some of the traits of each of those. And like I said, next week I will go into the tips, and hopefully you'll kind of mull this information over and figure out which category or categories, which combination you might fall into. So you can start to maybe put together a plan of action in terms of strategy around your food and around your workouts. And then also I will just say that if you need help with figuring that out and figuring out a plan, I'm happy to do that too. So, okay, endomorphs. So tend to gain weight pretty easily. That's me. And also and very slow with weight loss. That's also me. And you even have a tendency to yo-yo. And I've done that too. So really, if you've heard my story before, and for those of you maybe who don't know, in a very little nutshell, when I was going through the part of the time where I was going through really seriously using programs like P90X, trying to lose weight, I mean, I was not one of those people who like, I've done 90 days, or I've done a round of 90 days, and I've lost 30 pounds. That was not my story at all. It's not my story. My story was like, I'm doing it again, and again, and again, and again, and like 6-7 times later, then I can finally say, oh wow, I've lost like finally 35 pounds or whatever it was. But it took me quite a long time. Okay, so easy to gain weight, hard to lose weight, even yo-yo, not just yo-yo dieting, but yo-yo in terms of your weight going up and down. Naturally high body fat, check. Shorter arms and legs, yeah, probably. Round body shape, that was also me. I was kind of, and I think this happens a lot, you're either kind of an apple shape or you're a pear shape. I was more of the pear. So round body shape. Wide waist and hips, that was also me. So it's definitely an endo. And in some ways, even though my shape isn't necessarily that anymore, some of my characteristics and traits are still the endomorph category. Slow metabolism, yes. Poor carb tolerance. Now, what does that mean? So poor carb tolerance, a lot of times people will hear me say that my body loves carbs, when actually, and if I want to be more, I guess, not necessarily honest, but more correct, more accurate, my body doesn't like carbs, and that's the problem, is that rather than using it as fuel or energy in a very highly efficient way, like the mesomorphs, my body holds on to them. So, and some of you might be in the same boat where your body just, you can't overdo it on carbs because you just start instantly and easily putting on weight. I mean, that is definitely, that's me. I can't, you know, I kind of have to do sort of a carb cycling, which is what I'm in the middle of right now, where I have some days that are pretty low carb and then some days where I'm kind of back to a normal mid-range. Because if I have too many carbs, especially for too long, it does not take long for me to see the number on the scale move big time. So, perfect example, the weekend that we were moving into this house, because, you know, our food, our cooking utensils, all that stuff was in boxes, we were living off of fast food. And unfortunately, it wasn't the healthiest. It was like pizza and burgers and I think fried chicken and all this stuff. And just in that weekend, I put on 5 or 6 pounds. Like, that's crazy. And here we are now about 2 weeks later, almost 2.5 weeks later. And I finally have been able to drop off most of that weight. So that just gives you an idea. Okay, poor carb tolerance. You respond better to high protein, low carb. Can't get away with overeating. Oh, I wish that I could tell you, if you are an endomorph, I wish that I could tell me that we could eat whatever we want as much as we wanted, but we can't. Our body will pin us to the wall with added inches and added pounds, and we can't get away with it. We just cannot. So you can't overeat. You can't do, if you're trying to lose weight, I'm sorry, you got to really restrict yourself on the treat meals. And I had to learn that the hard way. Again, had I known this information back when I started, I probably wouldn't have had so many treat meals, and my results probably would have come a lot faster. Or maybe a little faster. I don't know. Okay, you can fall asleep easily, and then you sleep deeply. That is me for the most part. I can fall asleep very quickly. Deeply, usually, depends on whether my animals are walking around the house, but yes. And then still, you can be tired and lack energy the next day. And that's, I will say my energy level is much, much better now because I've been able to lose the weight and now have been able to keep it off. But man, I battled energy fatigue issues, even if I got, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours of sleep. Once in a while, that still creeps up. Like actually today was kind of a low energy day. But I think that's just because I didn't sleep as well. So, all right, let's move on. Ectomorphs. So ectomorphs tend to be the long, let me keep this in order here. So let's go to the mesomorphs, sorry. Okay, so your mesomorphs are those that are, like I said, kind of the genetic freaks. They have broad shoulders. They have large chests, small waist, so kind of that V shape. Naturally lean and muscular. Like I said, the people that, for the rest of us, it's easy to love and hate them at the same time. They are naturally strong, high energy. These tend to be your natural athletes. They have great carb tolerance. They have to be careful because they really can eat almost anything that they want, junk food or healthy food, and it, for the most part, doesn't seem like it really does anything to them because their body just naturally has an efficient, highly efficient metabolism and kind of puts things where it needs to go. Well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but yeah, they kind of can sometimes get away with eating almost anything. So they gain strength and muscle very easily, and they can lose and shred fat very easily. So, like I said, the genetic freaks. And it's kind of hard to find people who are just exactly that, but I'm sure the rare folks out there exist. Okay, let's go back to ectomorphs. So, ectomorphs are the long limbs, kind of lanky. They're not really curvy. Small waist, narrow shoulders, so they kind of just look like that, like one long line. Naturally lean, lose fat very easily. They also have lower strength levels, especially when they're first starting out in a program. They have to work really hard to build up their muscle and build up their strength. They have a super fast metabolism. I mean, it's hard for their body to try to really almost their metabolism to kind of keep up. It's hard for their body to keep up with their metabolism. That's what it is. They have a good carb tolerance as well, in the fact that their body can take it and process it pretty quickly without really doing anything to their waistline or doing anything to their scale or inches. They too have high energy, but they also can suffer from insomnia, not sleeping very soundly when they do. And again, they have a hard time maintaining and also gaining weight. So those are your different types. And so when I was reading this in the book the first time, I instantly went, okay, I think I'm a combination of an endo and maybe a little bit of the meso, because I've never had a hard time gaining weight or losing fat. Like that's not me. So I'm a little combo. I'm a little bit more on the endo side with a little bit of mesomorphs. Because I can gain strength pretty quickly, and I can take to many athletic abilities. Not that I'm a pro or really great at anything, but I mean, I can take, even when I was a kid, I could take to sports pretty quickly. So I'm kind of a combination there. When I was reading this and thinking about it for, like, my husband Gary, he is definitely a combination of the ecto-meso because he has a really hard time putting on weight, and he loses fat very quickly. He's naturally thin. I mean, I've seen that guy eat a bag of chips and a box of cereal and it like does nothing for him. He'll complain about, oh, I've got a little belly, and then like the next day he'll do laundry and it's gone. You know what I mean? So, but he does kind of have that V shape, very broad, kind of broad shoulders. I mean, he's kind of a small guy anyway, but very lean and muscular and very thin. So he's a little bit of both. So I would love to hear from all of you. Drop in the comments below what do you think your body type is? Maybe what combination? What traits, what characteristics of these did you identify with? And then, like I said, next week in part 2, I will actually be going over. I have a nice long list here. Be going over some tips for each of those body types. So it would be great for you to kind of, this isn't necessarily like a diagnosis by any means. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist or a fitness trainer or whatever. I like to find and learn things and pass on those bits of information to you. So that's really what this is. So this is kind of all of our best estimates of what we believe, what we identify with. So I would love to hear what you think, what you're thinking your body type is. So then that way next week when I give you some of these tips, then you will be able to kind of go, okay, I think this could work for me, or maybe I need to try tweaking this a little bit, that sort of stuff. So drop it in the comments below. What's your body type? What characteristics do you identify with the most or even have experience with? And then next week we'll talk about tips and see what from that can actually help you get on the right track and the right strategy for your body type. So I hope you find this helpful. As always, leave me some comments or messages about whether you liked this or what you would like to see more of, or if there's specific topics around health and fitness that you would like to see me address, because I love to learn. So if it's something I need to do some more research, I'm happy to do it, because I like to learn about the human body, how food can heal the body, and then how to exercise and train it so that way we don't age, we just keep getting better, right? So you guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Like I said, whether it's live or whether it's the recording, I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I will see you guys again, well, tomorrow night and the rest of the week for Daily Gratitude, but I will see you again next Tuesday night for HMF Live when we go into part 2 of your body type and tips to help you have the right strategy. So you guys are awesome. Have a great day or a great evening, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.